Hey, it's the Nitro RC Nerds here, and this is our Savage X 4.6. We call him the Beast because, frankly, that's what he is. I mean, it's no joke. This thing is a hoodlum, and it's the one vehicle that Andrew and I will do anything with. In fact, if there's two vehicles in our fleet that I will always have, it's going to be a Savage and, of course, my beloved C810. This video is how to change the steering servo in your Savage, and I understand that some of our subscribers might view this as basic, but remember, the intent of this channel is to help people new to the hobby solve whatever issues that they have. Our inbox gets flooded with questions, suggestions, comments, etc., and the feedback I love the most is when someone says, you know, I had no idea how to use a glow plug, and this video helped me tremendously, or, you know, I had that exact same problem and I couldn't figure it out. This video helped me solve the issue. Thanks so much. That is the type of feedback that I like, and that's what the intent of this channel is. The way I see it is, I guarantee you there's going to be some chump out there just like me who's either brand new to the hobby or brand new to the Savage, and he'll need a little help on how to change the steering servo on it. So if this is you, no worries. I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Look, I am no expert, but I have changed out the servo on this thing probably 10-15 times. This is simply because, I won't go into all the details, but I was playing a round of musical servos for a while, so I'd take one out of here, put it in another one, put a new one in, etc., etc. So I hope this helps. The very first thing that you'll want to do is understand the spline count for your servo. And the reason that's important is because you have different servo horns that will fit onto the specific spline count. And the spline count is really just the number of teeth that go around this gear here. So in this example, I'm running a ProTech, and this has a 25 spline count. You're going to see either 23, which is Airtronics, JR, you're going to see a 24, which is typically high-tech, or you'll see 25, which is Futaba, Savix, ProTech. If you're unsure, just Google your servo type and look up the spline count for it. Again, it's either going to be 23, 24, or 25. The spline count for the stock servo that's in your Savage is 25. So if you have a servo with that number of teeth on it, then you're fine. You don't need to worry about changing out the servo horn. However, if you do get something that's either a 23 or 24, you're going to have to change it out. And you should have these that came with your Savage. Ignore these longer ones. These are for the throttle. So what you're looking for is one of the smaller ones. And this right here, and you can tell because on here it'll say 25, 24, 23. This is the stock one. I have another servo on there that I'm running a 23 spline count on. So what I'll do is I'll also change the servo horn on it. The reason I say this should be your first step is because you can see that servo horns come in all different shapes and sizes, different lengths, widths, etc. And for the Savage, it's a very short horn, and it's fairly specific. So if you've either lost these, and maybe you have some extra ones like this right here or whatever, you definitely want to make sure that you have the right horn that will fit on it. Even if you get an aluminum one, I would definitely recommend ensuring that you get an aluminum one that is made specifically for the Savage X 4.6. Now, I'm not saying that a non-HPI servo horn won't fit, but I've changed a lot of horns, and one thing I've learned is they're not universal in size. Even things like the screw size that you use to go in, you can see these here are completely different. You may have a screw that's bigger in this instance that will fit into the horn, but will it fit into the steering link? If you have a skid plate, such as this right here, you'll definitely want to make sure you take that off. Now there's different ways to do this. The method that I've found the easiest is to just remove your radio tray right here. And I'll show you how to do this because unlike buggies, I think the Savage is a little bit different to wrench on. So I will show you exactly what you need to do to take off your radio tray. The first thing to do is remove your tires. And I'd recommend doing one at a time, and that's because there's this hub right here. It's very easy to come off, and there's a pin that it slots into. And so if you move it around, you're very easily going to lose this, or more importantly, you'll probably end up losing the pin. When you take off the wheels, the nut, any sort of 8mm wrench will work, so any sort of a glow plug wrench like this right here will easily take it off. The reason you take your wheel off is because you want to begin with taking this screw right here out. It really doesn't matter the importance, but I usually take the wheels off and start with this screw right here just to begin with, to get it over with, in other words. Then you do the other side. And I should note, it's not imperative you take your tires off, but you can see here, it just makes it a lot easier. It only takes a few seconds to turn your tires off. Take your tires off. So now once you get this out, you focus on the other screws that go from the chassis into the radio tray, which is this screw right here, and then this screw right here. So you're essentially taking this screw out, and this screw out. And there is one more, and that's on the side with the exhaust. You'll see a small screw right back here. You want to make sure you get that one off. I just typically bend the exhaust down a little bit like this and screw it out. And if you end up forgetting which screws go where when you put it back in, here's an easy tip. These larger screws right here go over here where you had to take the tire off. The medium-sized screws go into here, and on the other side it's going to go into here and then like here. And then this very small screw right here is the one that goes behind the exhaust. After you've done that, you can take off the throttle servo horn, and I'd recommend just putting the screw back into the gear itself so you don't lose it. Now that we have the side screws and the horn taken off, what you want to do is take the radio tray out, and the first thing is you'll want to move this to the side like that so you can get this out, and then you remove the battery tray as such. Now what you want to do is take these two screws right here out, but there's a little trick to it, and that is often when you're turning these, what you need to do is you want to hold these screws right here stationary. So in other words, on this side when you're taking that one off, what I do is I'll kind of put it on its side and I'll just get a screwdriver and hold it in there while I turn the other one out, and the same with this side. Now before you remove the radio tray, I'm not sure if it's a must, but I usually take out these posts right here that go into the body pin area and take this out. This just gives you more room to work with, because it can kind of be a little tricky to just pull out. Probably going to have to use both hands. And now you have the radio tray out. Once you've taken the radio tray out, you can set the truck aside, but be very careful because there's bearings here and here, and you don't want to lose those. One thing I completely forgot to mention, it's because I didn't have a servo in here at the moment, but you'll want to obviously unscrew the steering servo, just like you did with the throttle. Just here at the horn, simply unscrew the horn off. Then on the bottom side of your servo, you'll have the servo there. Loosen these screws right here, take them off, and then you pull the servo out. It's important to note that you're going to actually thread it through here, so this plug right here, this, I think they're Dean's connectors. What you'll do is it'll be in there connected to the receiver, and you just pull it out, and the tricky part is kind of getting this piece here out. From here, it's a simple matter of installing the servo into the tray. And let's say that you got excited and you took the servo out, and then you're like, oh no, which direction do I put it in? Simple rule of thumb is you just want the gears to face the same side. So in other words, you can see this is on this side here, so we're going to put this one in as such. And again, make sure you thread the connector before you put it in through the little housing area. And then finally you just screw it back in. It also never hurts to plug it in just to give it a little test, make sure everything's working correctly. In the event that you do need to change your servo horn, it's a pretty simple process. What you want to do is just place your truck upside down and unscrew it from the bottom here. Place it on top. You got to kind of hold it on its side really. Make sure that with these steering posts they don't come out because they can be loose, or of course you don't want to lose your bearings either. At this point you simply reverse the process. Begin by putting the radio tray back in, and screwing these screws back into the steering post, back into the chassis. Before you put the horns back onto the servos, it's very important that you turn on your controls so that you have everything set to neutral. Steering obviously is important, but especially the throttle servo here. So let's just go ahead and throw a new hump pack in here. Make sure everything is set. Now we put the horns on. And when you screw the horn on to the new servo, it's very important to make sure that you use the screw that came with the servo, not the one that came out of the old servo, because once again, these are not standardized. So that's it. Brand new steering servo. So with that, we do get a lot of requests from folks asking us to post more bashing videos of our Savage. And to that I say, have no fear, because absolutely we're going to celebrate this new servo by taking it to this spot I found right around my house. And this place is nasty. So definitely you're going to get some big air with him. We're going to allow the beast to do what he does best, and that is just get dirty, and I can't wait. And for you advanced guys, here pretty soon, hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks, I'm going to do a complete rebuild on this. I know this vehicle probably the least best out of all the ones in my fleet. I've done various things to it. I've taken out the engine and transmission, things like that. I haven't checked out the differentials or anything yet, but it'll be interesting because this will be the one time, or the first time I guess, that I really tear it down completely and go through and just inspect everything and make it the absolute best it can be. So with that, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you have a great day.